If your subconscious could speak to you in words rather than flashes of emotions, not tension in your chest or repeating situations into which you constantly fall, what, in your opinion, would it say? Would it scream? Would it cry? Or would it simply whisper that which it has been trying to convey to you for many years already? I am not trying to stop you. I am trying to protect you. You see, we were told that the subconscious is a set of limitations, that it holds us back, sabotages our progress, and repeats the past. But the truth is much more beautiful, and at the same time more unpleasant. The subconscious is not your enemy. It is your most faithful witness. That part of you which never forgot what caused pain. That part which still echoes with the unresolved, the unnoticed, the unloved. And here is the quantum truth. The field does not respond to what you want. It responds to what your subconscious broadcasts constantly, consistently, and with perfect honesty. So while your conscious mind strives to manifest abundance, love, purpose, the subconscious may still be holding the frequency of lack, rejection, and fear. Not because it wants to punish you, but because it remembers how this frequency once provided you with safety. It remembers the moment when you decided to remain silent instead of speaking up. Remembers the time when you dimmed your light to survive in that environment. Remembers the belief that being invisible is the only way to be accepted. And now every time you try to break this pattern, every time you approach something different, the subconscious pulls you back. Not because it hates your evolution, but because it fears that you will forget what once protected you. This video is a message, but not only from me. It is a decoding of the messages that you have been sending to yourself through your patterns, through your pain, through your pauses. It is a guide to understanding why you are stuck, although you did everything right. You kept a journal, visualized, meditated, repeated affirmations, listened to every explanation of manifestation, and still you cycle. Still you collapse right before it happens. Still you doubt yourself, even trying to vibrate at the highest frequency. If this is about you, then this is your video. In it, we will analyze why your subconscious is actually not sabotaging you. It is communicating with you. Every hesitation, every cycle, every time you retreat right before the jump is not failure. It is language. It is your system trying to tell you something that you have not fully heard yet. And the quantum field does not just read your thoughts or energy on the surface. It reflects back your unresolved emotional signatures. The echo of past experiences that still vibrate beneath the surface of your intentions. We will talk about why fear and resistance almost always intensify right before a breakthrough, and how this is not a sign that something is wrong, but a signal that something is awakening. We will dive deeply into what it really means to break old patterns, not just to rephrase them mentally, but to release their grip on your body, on your nervous system, and on your vibrational identity. And most importantly, we will begin to understand how to tune your energetic signal, not from a place of fear, but from the frequency of your future self, a place that feels stable, embodied, and steady, not forced. By the end of this, you will see yourself differently, because this is not about fixing you. It is about hearing the parts that you ignored and realizing that they were not holding you back. They were holding your attention until you were ready to listen. So before moving further, I want you to ask yourself something, not with your mind, but with your body, that part of you that speaks in emotions. What pattern keeps appearing? Not because you are failing, but because it is still trying to say something. What comes back? Not to punish you, but to protect from jumping too far and too fast without integration. This is where we begin. The subconscious does not speak in words. It speaks in memory, rhythm, patterns. It loops you in the same experiences, not because you are cursed, not because you are weak, but because it is trying to keep you closer to the familiar. It is the familiar that meant safety for most of your life. Even if the familiar is pain, rejection, lack, or silence, for the subconscious, the known is safe. And here the quantum field comes in, because the field, like the subconscious, does not judge. It reflects. It takes the energetic signal that you broadcast and responds accordingly, amplifying the state with which your body and heart are most familiar. This is one of the most misunderstood truths about manifestation. We think that the universe withholds. We think that we are being tested or ignored. But in reality, the quantum field is incredibly loyal. It mirrors you with absolute precision. And if the subconscious is still anchored to old frequencies, the field will show you reflections of those frequencies again and again. This is not punishment. It is consistency. It is vibration made visible. It is energy seeking resolution. Your subconscious is not just a mental structure. It is biological, stored in your nervous system, in your cells, in your posture, breathing, tone of voice. Everything you do is a continuation of patterns that you absorbed from childhood, culture, traumas, and repetitions. And the field is a unified mind that responds to the language of feelings more than to the language of thoughts. So when your body carries the vibration of abandonment, even if the mind asks for love, the field senses the split and echoes back what is more deeply encoded. And yet none of this is permanent. The beauty of the quantum field is that it is always available for retuning. As you can broadcast fear, so you can broadcast trust. As you repeat survival, so you radiate expansion. The signal can change, but only when you become aware of what it is saying now. The problem is that most people try to override the subconscious with positive thinking. They layer affirmations over unresolved trauma. They meditate to escape the body, not to meet it. They visualize a future that they do not really believe they deserve. And the field listens not to words, but to resonance. The field responds to a coherent signal where thought, feeling, and action are aligned. And if thoughts speak of abundance, but emotions are contracted with fear, and the body shrinks from shame, your signal is fragmented, incoherent, and the field can mirror only what is stable within you. So most people experience the same relationships again and again, the same moments of self-doubt, the same plateau in finances, the same inner voice saying, "Not now, not enough, do not go too far." And they think they are broken, but in reality, they are entangled, still vibrationally linked to a previous version of themselves that learned to survive in limitations. The field does not hold you there. It simply meets you there. Let us make this even clearer. Imagine the field as a frequency tuner. It does not care what you ask for. It locks onto what you are. So if the subconscious is looped on the belief that good things never last, the field does not punish you. It shows situations where good begins and then slips away. Not because you are manifesting failure, but because you have not shifted the deep belief that continues to broadcast instability. Now the invitation. What if the resistance you feel is not failure, but a message? What if the moments when you retreat are not signs of weakness, but signals that your field is trying to resolve something unresolved? What if repetition is communication? The subconscious wants integration. It wants release. But this cannot happen through suppression or control, only when you slow down enough to hear the vibration beneath the thought. And the field in its infinite intelligence will continue to bring the same lesson until you respond with a new signal, not from force, but from recognition, from presence, from embodiment. So when life keeps offering the same experience again and again, not because you want it, but because you have not fully heard it yet, this is not personal, not punishment, not sabotage. It is the most precise, compassionate reflection of what still needs your presence. Patterns do not repeat to trap you. They repeat to reveal what has not yet been seen with new eyes, felt with an open heart, or held without resistance. They return not to break you, but to open something. Your subconscious does not pull you back to stop. It leads you inward to retune. Because once the message is heard, not only by the mind, but by your entire field, you stop looping. The signal changes. And when the signal changes, your reality changes too. There is a reason why you feel the strongest fear, the greatest resistance, and the deepest doubt right before something finally changes. That intense inner contraction, that sudden wave of maybe I am not ready, is not weakness. It is a sign that your system is recalibrating. Because when you start to break the vibrational agreement with the past, when you stop resonating with the old frequency that once protected you, the subconscious does not just quietly step aside. It speaks up not to punish, but to make sure you really heard everything it was trying to teach. Every time you approach the version of yourself that loves fully, creates freely, receives with ease, you feel it. Something rises, a voice, fear, a sensation in the chest saying, "Do not go there. It is not safe. It is not for you." And we often interpret this as a block. But what if it is not a block at all? What if it is the part of you that survived, asking, "Are you sure we do not need this armor anymore?" We live in a culture obsessed with moving forward, high vibration, constant growth, breakthroughs, leveling up. But we forget that real transformation comes not only from accelerating forward, it comes from turning back and gathering the parts of yourself that we left behind to survive. Your subconscious is not trying to recreate the past. It is trying to complete it. And that final emotional wave before the breakthrough is your body releasing the frequency that held you for so long. This is where most people get stuck. They take this emotional surge as proof of failure, regression, or insufficient alignment. So they retreat, return to old relationships, cling to old beliefs, dim themselves again. And the cycle continues not because they are incapable of shifting, but because they misread the final signal as a warning instead of release. Imagine this as quantum echo. When you move away from the old vibration to the new, the old frequency does not just disappear, it resonates, calls you one last time not to drag you back, but to ask, "Have you really outgrown me? Or am I still part of your identity?" And your answer is not in words. It is in what you choose next and how you respond when everything in you wants to retreat to comfort. But something deeper in you knows that comfort is a cage. You are not just releasing the external pattern. You are releasing the version of yourself that built their world around this pattern. And grieving that version is part of the shift. Feeling sadness, wavering, shakiness standing in the new energy. This is not weakness. It is proof that something real is happening. That your subconscious is reprogramming. Not just intellectually, but emotionally. That you are releasing the frequency, not just the memory. And the quantum field is listening closely in this moment. Because here your signal becomes the purest. Not when you repeat affirmations on a good day, but when you are in the middle of the old storm and consciously choose not to collapse into the past again. That moment of choice, small, quiet, internal, sends a ripple through the field. It tells the universe, "This time I am not reacting. This time I choose from who I am becoming." And the field responds accordingly, not always instantly, not always with fireworks, but with alignment, precision, and expansion that matches your new coherence. So if you feel wobbly, if you spiraled, if things feel emotionally heavier than usual, you may not be breaking yourself. You are breaking through, because the subconscious does not give up easily. It asks you to prove not with perfection, but with presence that you are ready to live in the new frequency. And this proof is not what you perform. It is what you embody. Now ask yourself, when I feel myself slipping into the old story, what am I really being asked to listen to? What part of me is rising not to punish, but to be seen, honored, gently released? Because once you hear this clearly, it no longer has to repeat. The cycle dissolves and you shift. The subconscious does not stop speaking just because we try to move on. It does not become quieter just because we decided we are done with the past. In fact, the more you try to override it, the louder it becomes, not with words, but with emotion, discomfort, self-sabotage disguised as delay, doubt, or distraction. This is why healing is not about shouting affirmations over the noise. It is about learning to listen differently. Because beneath every repeating pattern is a question. And in the moment you stop trying to fix it, and instead start listening, everything changes. What if that doubt that catches you late at night is not the enemy, but your younger self asking, "Will I be loved if I succeed?" What if the repeating resistance to receiving is not because you are unworthy, but because a part of you still believes that receiving means debt. What if the very things that hold you back are just stories waiting for acknowledgement? True transformation begins with awareness, not force. And this resonates when we are reminded that belief systems are not just thoughts. They are biological imprints. They live in your nervous system, in your reactions, in your ability to stay calm when discomfort arises. So if you want to change the external world, it starts with how you meet your internal responses. The more you fight resistance, the stronger it becomes. But when you meet it with presence, breath, awareness, it softens. Because the subconscious never screams for change. It whispers for connection. Here quantum presence comes in. You do not collapse a new timeline by visualizing harder. You collapse it by standing fully in the energy of now, no matter how chaotic, messy, or emotionally charged it is. The version of you living the dream life does not avoid heavy emotions. It has simply learned to stay regulated within them. It has stopped abandoning itself when fear speaks, stopped jumping into survival mode when expansion triggers vulnerability. This is the real shift, not avoiding discomfort, but no longer identifying with it. So how to start retuning your field when the signal comes from a place you do not fully understand? Start simply. Pay attention to what keeps coming back, not just externally, but inside your body. What thought repeats when you take a risk? What emotion flares when you approach receiving something new? Where does tension appear when you try to rest? These are not obstacles. They are messages. Each one is a frequency waiting for your presence, not perfection. Start meeting these moments differently. Instead of reaction, observation. Instead of control, breath. When familiar discomfort rises, tell yourself, I hear you. You protected me, but now I choose differently. This inner dialogue becomes the new vibration that the field registers immediately. You are not forcing the shift. You are stabilizing it from within. The moment you can observe a thought or emotion without becoming it, you are no longer in the past. You are in the quantum, in the now. And from this space, new timelines become accessible not as concepts, but as felt realities. But this requires what most resist: patience, stillness, repetition, not of effort, but of returning. Returning to center every time the old frequency knocks. Returning to the body when the mind wants to escape. Returning to truth when old fear tries to dress as logic. Now I want you to try something. Pause. Breathe slowly and ask yourself, what pattern keeps returning in my life? Not because I am broken, but because it asks to be broken consciously, lovingly, and with honor. If a word comes, just one, let it stay with you. This word is your signal, this vibration waiting for your presence. Maybe control or worthiness or forgiveness or trust. There is no right answer, only honesty. And when you are ready, you can write this word in the comments. Not to prove anything, but to quietly declare that now you are listening, that you are ready to meet the message beneath the noise. Not to fight it, but to finally integrate. Because once you do this, you no longer react to the subconscious. You respond with awareness, and then the field responds differently too. There is something powerful that happens when you stop trying to become someone new, and instead, start remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. When you stop chasing quantum shifts as distant goals and start realizing that they happen in the moment, you tune to the frequency of who you truly are. This is not poetry. It is physics. Frequency precedes form. Emotion precedes outcome. Energy organizes matter. The version of you that you glimpse in dreams, in brief moments of clarity, in flashes of inner knowing. This version is not fictional, not aspirational. It exists now. The only thing holding you from fully living in this reality is the signal you are still sending. And now you understand where this signal comes from. Not from the vision board, not from conscious desires, but from the emotional code that your subconscious launched when you were too small to know you had a choice. But the choice is now. You can choose to hear these patterns differently. You can choose to allow the nervous system to settle, even when the mind spins. You can choose to show up for yourself in moments when the old you would collapse, retreat, or contract. And every such choice is a declaration to the field. I am ready to stop repeating. I am ready to start resonating. You do not need to control the quantum field. You are not here to manipulate it or trick it to get what you want. That is not how it works. The field does not speak force. It speaks coherence. And the more coherent your energy becomes, the more your heart, mind, body, and actions speak the same language. The more the field responds in ways that feel effortless, aligned, and real. But coherence does not come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from feeling what is real and staying in the truth that you are still safe, still whole, still worthy even in the midst of uncertainty. This is what stabilizes your frequency. This is what creates the inner resonance that the external world cannot help but reflect. And when old patterns knock, because they will knock, you will not panic. You will recognize them. Say, "Thank you for protecting me, but I no longer live there." And in that moment, something profound happens. Your subconscious no longer has to scream. The cycle no longer has to repeat. The field no longer mirrors fear, because the signal has changed, because you have changed. You are the signal, and the field is always listening. So the real question, will you choose to tune into it fully, without apologies, and consistently, until it becomes the most natural thing in the world? Because when you do, the quantum responds. Write the word in the comments describing your next shift. It can be trust and flow, release, or something that feels right. Your word becomes part of your signal. And if this touched you, subscribe. Let us grow together. Not from a place of force, but from a place of alignment, curiosity, and true connection. You are not alone in this. This space is created to help you remember what you always knew. You are energy, you are possibility, and you are the field in motion.